Alright, so here's the latest dumbassery about the AR-15 that's going all over X and also Facebook and all the other socials regarding the conspiracy theory that Donald Trump was not actually an attempted assassination, but it was all staged and he just, cut his ear with a razor blade and whatever. And the idea is the AR-15, even if it just grazed his ear, would have blown his head off. Of course, it's ridiculous, but I mean, they've modified their claim a bit. And what they're saying now is that the AR-15 fires hypersonic bullets. And that's how you get that big grapefruit-sized explosion, as they go through a human body. And so if it had just nicked his ear, the hypersonicness of it would have, blown half his head off. And that's how you know it was staged. And it's dumb. But we should cover it. We should talk about it. Let's talk about what it means to be hypersonic, because that's different than supersonic. Supersonic, as you know, is faster than the speed of sound, Mach 1, which is 768 miles per hour, 1,236 kilometers per hour, 1,125 feet per second, or 343 meters per second. At sea level, in dry air, at a temperature of 59 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 degrees Celsius. Because pressure, temperature, and humidity are going to affect all of that. So this is where you break the sound barrier, and you get a shock wave that creates a sonic boom. And so for something big like a plane, you've seen pictures of the sonic boom, which is generally why they don't let them go supersonic over populated areas, because it would break windows and everything. But you can have smaller ones. A whip crack is supersonic. That's how it gets the sound from that. And so that's the sound that the bullet makes. And that's why when you're listening to the audio, it goes crack, boom, crack, boom, crack, boom. Because when you fire the gun, the bullet's going supersonic. And so it's going to race out ahead of the sound of the gunshot. So you hear the bullet first. As it goes by the microphone, it makes that whip crack sound. And then after that, the sound of the gunshot catches up because it's going supersonic. Now that's supersonic. Hypersonic is when you're going way faster than that. So usually they put hypersonic at above Mach 5 or more typically above Mach 10. But it's going to depend on all sorts of things about the item that you're trying to get to go hypersonic. But it's the speed at which it's going so fast that as it tears through the air, it actually rips electrons off of the air molecules and turns them into ions, and then the ions turn into a plasma. And that just generates this extreme amounts of heat. Generally, we're talking about hypersonic vehicles, that the military wants to use, and they have to put on all these heat shields and everything to protect them from it. So, big thermal loads. So hypersonic is not only a lot faster than supersonic, you have that thermal load. You also have the interactions with the air. The air becomes ionized, creating the plasma. As opposed to just supersonic where it's a sonic boom, the air is still a neutral gas, it's just giving off that shock wave. Hypersonic vehicles often require specialized shapes and materials to manage extreme heat and friction. And so the difference is in the magnitude of speed, thermal loads, and air interactions with hypersonic speeds being significantly more extreme and challenging to achieve. Okay, so let's think about this issue of an AR-15 shooting, or any gun shooting a 223 Remington at hypersonic speeds. What would that even mean? Credit where it's due, I did this kind of in association with Llama 3, the 70 billion parameter version. We kind of went back and forth on it. And whenever you're doing something like that, remember, the purpose of an LLM is to make stuff up. So check their facts, check their math. I basically knew what the math was supposed to be and what the concept was supposed to be, but the LLM is good at kind of giving you the picture and filling in a lot of the details and giving you a lot of stuff you didn't think of. But I've double checked all of this. And what we're really doing here is back of the napkin calculations. So we're considering a 223 Remington bullet fired fast enough to ionize the air around it. So we're going to consider a typical air density. The bullet diameter and shape is going to have a lot to do with it. unlike like a 9mm or a 45 ACP, like most rifle bullets, it's got that nice pointy shape to it. Being more needle-like, it's a small bullet and it's more streamlined, you need a higher speed to achieve ionization. So hypersonic is going to be a lot higher for a 223 than it is for most other things, like an aircraft. And of course, the temperature and composition of the air is going to figure into it. So we're assuming it's called standard atmospheric conditions. That's 20 degrees Celsius, 1 atmosphere of pressure, and dry air. And again, these are rough estimates. This is back of the napkin. The energy required to ionize air molecules is between 10 and 15 electron volts. So that's the energy the bullet needs to impart onto the air around it, coming from its kinetic energy. In other words, the only way to do it is to get it going faster. So we're assuming a 223 Remington with a mass of 55 grains. I'm not going to put all the math up on the screen or anything. I guess I can give you the math if you're interested in it, but again, it's so back of the napkin, I'm not going to worry about it. Kinetic energy is, 1/2 mv squared. So we need to achieve ionization, and we need the bullet's kinetic energy to be between 10 and 15. Did my camera go away? All right, that was rude. My other camera went down. So, okay, switched over to the other one. Okay, let's see, where was I? We're getting the bullet going hypersonic. In order to do that, we need the bullet's kinetic energy to be between 10 and 15 electron volts per air molecule. A lot of air molecules. We're going to assume an average air molecule mass of 28.97 AMU, atomic mass units. And you plug that into the kinetic energy equation and you get between 5.5 and 8.2 kilojoules. Solve for velocity, and basically it needs to be going Mach 18. That's the same speed that the shuttle Columbia was going when it broke up in the atmosphere. So it's really, really fast. So to ionize the air around a 223 Remington bullet, it would need to travel at approximately Mach 18, and that corresponds to about 7,000 meters per second, 23,000 feet per second, 25,200 kilometers per hour, 15,658 miles per hour, or 90% of orbital speed. Almost enough to fire it into orbit. Really, really fast. But the question is, what would actually happen if you actually fired a bullet that fast out of an AR-15? What would happen? Not just to Trump, but to the shooter. To everyone. You gotta get it going Mach 18 out of there. There's no heat shield, it's just a gun, remember? The deal here is it's gonna be pretty catastrophic for the shooter, the gun, and everyone in the environment. It is going to generate so much heat due to air friction. It's going to create a plasma shockwave around it. Then it's going to vaporize the bullet. It might not even make it to Trump. Or it might. There's a lot of, like I said, back of the napkin, there's a lot of variants. Maybe it would make it to his ear, but it's going to vaporize it. The heat is going to be transferred to the gun and the gun barrel. It's going to overheat, warp, even melt. The gun's chamber in action would also be severely damaged and really hot. Are there other rounds loaded? Because if there are, and they got powder in them, kaboom! That powder's going to ignite and do its thing. Intense heat and shockwave would pose a significant risk to the shooter. Severe burns from the radiation, major concussive injuries from the shockwave, damage to their eyes and ears from the sonic boom, and of course, if it's got other rounds in the chamber, that explosion. I don't think the Secret Service is going to have to do anything to take him out at that point. He's pretty much taking himself out just by firing the gun. As to the environment, it's going to shatter windows and damage buildings in the surrounding area. It's going to cause widespread destruction to vegetation and structures in its path, and generate a massive amount of noise, over 200 decibels, which is going to cause permanent hearing damage to basically everyone. That's how bad it's going to be. If that bullet were hypersonic, you'd know it. It would create an air burst, releasing a huge amount of energy into the air. So, yeah, it's going to be completely catastrophic. In conclusion, then, AR-15s do not fire hypersonic bullets, so don't be stupid. All these people posting this, you're dumb. I'm sorry. Hypersonics, it would be massive devastations, even in an otherwise safe context like a firing range. They'd never allow it because everyone there would have massive burns, massive hearing damage and concussions, damage to the structure itself. Or if it's outdoor, you look at like one of those outdoor firing ranges where they're out in the woods. Guess what? The woods are on fire now. Everything's on fire. Everything's been... No, the bullets are not hypersonic. And that's just more of the ridiculous lies being spread about the AR-15. But that's where we are. That's the state of the discussion today. It's just conspiracy theorists, man. It's just everything they do to maintain their crap. But hey, if nothing else, it means I get to keep making videos like this where I make fun of them. So thank you very much for watching. Comments for the comment god, shares for the share throne. Please hit like, subscribe, and the bell. And remember to go to donate.bogosity.tv to keep me doing what I do. One-time donations with PayPal, Venmo, and cryptocurrency, or become a live supporter at Patreon or Subscribestar or Discord. Remember, I've added on Discord now. A few of you have signed up for Discord, and that's cool. Get these videos early and ad-free. We've got the monthly live streams, which I have to schedule now. It's getting towards the end of the month, so watch for that if you want to jump in on that. Now's a good time. Other benefits as well, so please check those out. Thank you so very much for watching. Until next time, stay strong and be free.